We are the Nerd Eternal Network.
I know I'm not the one. Don't fake it well, you don't belong to me.
Hello and welcome to Direberry Adventuring Company. I am your GM for the evening, Jason. I come from the Nerd Eternal Network. We're doing Tuesday nights in concert with Direberry. This is, of course, our Esper Genesis game, our sci-fi. Playing with me tonight will be Sarah playing Cat, Taylor playing Danru, Eric playing Adrian, and Zach and Anna playing Francis and Jade, respectively.
Howdy.
Now, if I recall, last week you were sent to retrieve some data, make some copies of some cave carvings, cave paintings, whatever, from an old abandoned mine. Achille had some photos of this sent to him by a fan a decade and a half ago. Getting a lot of that kind of stuff, he couldn't follow up on it all. But a search through his archives, the computer noticed some similarities between some of the writings and the carvings and the language of the extinct species that y'all have been researching. He set up a roundabout way for you to go check it out, making it appear to, hopefully to anybody spying on you or keeping tabs on you, that you were just taking a side job from somebody else. I'm sure you all remember that there was an unexpected complication once you got there.
Yeah, there was people.
Were they really people?
We're not going to have this debate again.
Look, I just got through a debate of whether or not shoes were clothes. I'm just gonna say these were people.
Because you're ready to have that kind of debate again, or because you're tired of that kind of debate?
So I'm really tired of debating, especially when I looked up both the definitions of the word clothing and the word shoe, showed how they work together, and then was told I was cherry picking information.
What?
Was this better or worse than the argument you had about the sun versus infinite lions?
The sun versus infinite lions was a debate that was obvious and should have been done, and I don't want to talk about it. Because technically, no, I'm setting the sun versus infinite lions away. We're not going to talk about the sun versus infinite lions.
Alright.
There's too many ways to define winning a fight. Now let's get back to beating up people for not addressing a huge social issue.
Alright, so if I believe when we left off last time, you were headed back to town. You were all loaded up in the future SUV.
Space SUV.
I think this one was actually a wheeled vehicle, though,
It was.
as opposed to
wow.
as opposed to the hovering Space El Camino y'all were in a previous one. On the plus side, you haven't wrecked this one.
I'm not driving.
True. I believe Cody is driving. He was your guide. I forget if he was a professional guide or if he was... I think he was attached to the local university some kind of way. Intern, or teacher's aide, or whatever they call him. Or something. Anyway.
Adjunct. That's the word.
That's probably it.
Lackey.
Well, he is a lackey, but they don't like to use those kind of terms in colleges. Cody is very while Cody was very talkative driving out here. He's a lot quieter driving back.
I can't imagine why.
I don't know.
Well, I
Maybe
mean,
because y'all.
it's not directly his fault, but he was associated with it.
Eh, was he though?
He kept a secret that endangers a large population.
And
Well,
he
not
kept
necessarily endangers, but abuses a large population.
he kept insisting they weren't people.
He was trying to play along with the idea that they weren't people.
They're
Yeah,
people.
He's just a small fry in a large academic pond. He doesn't want to cause too many ripples.
Yes, I completely understand his selfishness. That's why he's not evil. He's just selfish.
They're people.
All right, so the drive back to town is fairly uneventful. Like I said, Cody's very quiet. He tries to start up a little conversation once or twice, but you guys just don't seem to be having it.
Taking a nap, don't bother me.
Cat just looks over with like angry slashes on her mask.
What? I'm napping.
No, at Cody.
I know.
I now like to imagine she's staring at Cody. You go, what? Because you can just feel her angry face.
Yeah.
And you expect it to be at you.
Vocal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she's angry staring at Cody, and Adrian's like, I didn't do it. Oh,
And then he cracks an eye open and sees where she's staring. Oh, well, never mind.
Yep,
Not me this
I'm good.
time.
I'm good. Nap time.
As you get back into town proper, though, Cody goes, so y'all want me to take you back to your ship?
That'd be lovely.
You arrive back at the spaceport, such as it is. Jim. I was blanking on his name.
Jimothy?
Jim's there. He's sitting outside just chewing the fat with some of the guys that work the port. He raises a hand. Y'all walk up. Hey guys, how'd it go? He's just looking at your faces. What happened?
Cat just keeps walking.
Agent
encountered-
Sorion is like, you seem to have left out the giant murder bug the size of a frigate.
The what? The who now?
You heard me the first time. I'll need to repeat myself. I did not stutter.
Yeah, who are you saying this to?
The guy who's talking to us.
Jim, your pilot?
Yeah. Adrian's not in a good mood.
I don't think Jim would have been aware of the giant murder bug.
Yeah.
What giant? Okay, I'm assuming you fought something.
Yeah. What was your first clue?
Well, the rips and tears in some of your clothing, and you all have that kind of scuffed up look.
Chocolate syrup.
You also look pissed about something.
You don't think?
We encountered a new and horribly unflavorable version of racism.
Yeah.
What? I thought the mine was abandoned.
Nope.
No. Not even close.
He will, Adrian actually will walk up to Danru. He goes, do whatever you want with this. And he'll hand him a data pad that literally has every last ounce of data that company had on it about that species. Said, have fun. And I'm going to bed.
Adrian, you have a copy of this yourself already?
A copy?
I mean, as long as this is not the only copy, I'm happy to have it.
I make at least 3 copies of everything.
Cool.
I'm going to bed.
So yeah, Jim, and I'll show him through the pad of what we just, what we found, and then what, Cody tried to talk us into believing about them.
Oh man, that's effed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely some primitive people. This planet was in an early. I guess this planet was in the early stages of developing intelligent life. That is a big horned frog thing too. Ever tell you how happy I am to stay with the ship?
Hey, I mean, we're happy to have you on the ship because we have to have a pilot to leave in case things go bad.
So are we leaving now, or have y'all got something else to do with this?
I think we've done all of our information.
Double and triple check the scanners in case we get ambushed again.
Cody's just standing to the side, still looking kind of embarrassed.
I don't think we have anything left to do in this place, do we?
No. Pretty
We
sure
got what we needed. Yeah.
You load up in the ship.
Adrian comes back out after his nap, but he immediately goes to the sensors, and he is like triple checking the system of any ships.
There's a little hiccup when y'all try to take off. Jim goes up to the cockpit, and a couple minutes later comes back. Well, guys, they're not giving us clearance to take off.
Why?
Man,
It's
if
a mystery
only there was a ton of space we could take off in anyway.
The mayor has requested an opportunity to speak with you.
Cat pokes her head out enough to go, the mayor can suck my butt.
Jade, bring the shotgun.
Wait, she has a shotgun?
Yes, she does.
What? I thought she just had a rifle and a sniper rifle. When did she get a shotgun?
It was part of her starting equipment.
Oh, okay. I've just never seen her use it, I guess.
Its primary use is really, really situational, and we haven't been in that situation.
Yeah, shotguns are.
A vast array of cutie things.
It's a fancy dress gun. You only take it out to see important people.
Like mayors.
Yeah, it's like the little black dress of guns. We'll be right back. Dogs are raising hell.
Cat.
Enjoy this.
So
cat.
anyway, you've got an invite from the mayor.
How many of us has he invited? Just all of us?
He's invited the crew.
Jim, would you like to stay on the ship?
Jim goes, hey Danru, I'd like to stay on the ship.
Jim,
Sarah
you get to
was-
stay on the ship.
Sarah was not kidding about enjoy this cat. He's just hanging out on the camera screen. Nope, there he goes.
Like all cats, he would not pass up a chance to show us his butt.
Yeah.
So who wants to go meet the mayor of this place that he's going to try to convince us to do a bad thing?
Hey, Danu.
Hey, Adrian.
10 to 1 odds this guy is going to try to get us to do something either asinine or completely stupid.
I mean, I'd put 10 to 1 murder or hush money.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, they actually have absolutely no evidence of that.
What do they have?
No evidence. What?
Oh, when I used some of my powers to when I hacked into their company and stole all of that data, that one of my powers makes it so that any action that I took within any system I happen to be in immediately erases itself as if I never existed.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And it was not a company per se. It was you checked like local media sites. I think you did some hacking into the university computers. This place is not run by one particular company.
Yeah, he went tearing through their networks like a rampaging bull.
Because there's not much of a global government really. It's almost cities. The cities are so spread out because the planet's got a low population that it's almost city states. You know, with certain basic human rights kind of things and trade stuff, and they cooperate in defense, or pirate ships to show up in system or something, that kind of thing.
But yeah, as Agent just walks by, he'll just pat Daniel on the shoulder, like, all right, let's go meet the stupid.
All right, so everybody but Jim.
And Hull, I guess.
Oh yeah, this would be a good opportunity to leave Hull behind. Just in case things get murdered, you don't want to leave Jim here by himself.
Yeah. We come back, there's like smoking craters and a whole like army of drones floating around. Like, what have you been up to?
The flamethrower wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Came back and I already approve of this plan.
Yeah. Also, your cat totally basked in the fact there was a camera.
He's an attention whore.
Yep.
So while you're gone, we're just assuming it's either hush money or murder.
Cat
Is
will
what the mayor's coming to see us for.
Cat will probably preemptively turn off her mask so she doesn't just run at the mouth.
So you exit your ship. Cody is still there with the SUV. Hey guys, I'm supposed to drive you to see the mayor.
Yeah, we know.
Man, really pulling out the red carpet.
Well, I was already kind of here.
No, I understand.
I'm sending him back this time.
Her
And
smart
Adrian just
assness-
like hops into the bed of the truck.
Her smart assness is rubbing off on Danru.
I just want to assure you, Sir Cody, I have no intention to harm you as long as you never pull a weapon on me.
Thanks.
I, on
These
the other
idiots.
hand, might just bite you.
Like, what you have done
He
is
kinda
for
flinches away.
yourself. Well, with what's happened, I disapprove of what you've done, but I understand you've done it in self-protection and self-interest. That is understandable. I
haven't done anything though. Dude, I didn't know they were on this
That's the
continent.
point.
That their location was never the issue, moralistically.
Already got him up.
Alright, so y'all load up and y'all drive on. He takes you to the mayor's residence, which is a really nice house. It's not a huge palatial mansion, but it's a very nice house. Probably on par with what Achille has.
Except it's on a planet.
Yeah. But there's some landscaping. It's not on a huge amount of real estate, but it's a nice place. Kind of what you'd expect, some of these smaller planets. Cody is not going in with you. He pulls you up to the front door. The mayor's butler, I'll show you in once you get to the door.
Understood.
As you load out, Cody goes, it was a nice meeting you.
It was valuable to meet you, Sir Cody.
Huh. Yeah, I guess that's the best I'm going to get.
Probably.
So he drives away as you walk up. How heavily armed are you guys?
Adrian doesn't appear armed.
All of Cat's weapons.
Danru doesn't appear armed. He has armor on, but not a weapon.
Well,
It's very clear. It's very clear that Francis is strapped. What about
So
you?
is Jade.
There are bodyguards.
the butler just kind of looks at you all. I can check your weapons if you'd like.
Could.
The most important part of your statement was, if you like.
Well, I've been given no instructions to bar you if you were armed. It's just unusual to visit the mayor.
Let me put it to you this way. There's a lot of idiots that have a habit of trying to kill us wherever we go.
We have
Oh,
had a bad
weird.
week.
Hey, here's a hint, by the way. Please don't be one of the idiots.
I assure you, sir, I'm just the domestic.
Good boy. We'd like to go see the mayor now.
Danner's gonna be a little confused, like, oh, okay.
He looks a little offended at the boy comment.
I've not had a good day.
Mine seems to be going downhill as well. Please follow me. He leads you into a room. Down a hallway, you see a couple of sitting rooms. He takes you to the dining room. Sitting at one end of the table, you see an older human, very receded hairline, little on the tall side, very lanky. To the point you would almost wonder if he was perhaps raised on a lower gravity world. Sometimes if you get a world that's half a G or so, the people tend to grow up taller, and he's got that look to him. Sitting at the head of the table is a give me perception checks.
Always my favorite check.
Why do I have it?
Too much stuff.
Alright, so that is Taylor. Oddly, Danru does not notice, even though he's the one that should probably be most likely to notice this. Let's see. Adrian does not notice this at first. The other three of you pick it up immediately. The man at the head of the table looks human. He's got white hair. Well, silver. It's kind of silver. Slightly older gentleman. Still a thick head of hair. He's still in good shape. You three notice immediately the jet black eyes. Meaning that this is a Kesh with his face morphed into a human form. You've seen Danru pull this trick before. And just like with Danru, his eyes, the man's eyes don't change. He stands and greets you.
I should have taken that bet.
Hello, welcome to my home. I am Mayor Gage. He walks around, he offers his hand. He'll start with Danru.
Danner will shake his hand. Sir.
Yeah, he shakes each of your hands. Thank you for coming. I know today has been upsetting. I would just like a chance to talk to you about it, before you leave. I would hate for you to leave with too bad an opinion of us in our home. Please sit. We can talk while we eat. This is a friend of mine, Professor Sanderson. He points to the lanky man. He is the head of the anthropology department at the local university.
Doing a bang-up job there.
I thought his presence might be useful given the nature of this conversation.
Cat, does not sit. She remains standing. She's gonna pretend she's a bodyguard or something. She's not digging any of this. This feels, yeah.
Adrian is gonna sit down.
Danner will also sit down, just ready to discuss.
Yeah, he has his arms like kind of folded, and his left hand is sort of wrapping on the metal of the gauntlet that is on his right.
Francis is just gonna stay standing. So is Jade. Loom. Francis is going to loom.
When he shakes Francis's hand, assuming Francis is willing to shake his hand.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. Don't worry, I'm not looking up an Esper power or anything.
Poison dart.
No contact poison on his hands.
But he turns, and on his wrist is a gauntlet as he shouts, "Beware the sting of the monarch."
Oh lord.
Matoke?
I missed that show. But butterflies don't sting.
But when he shakes your hand, Francis, he lets you. We don't get very many Matoke. Is that how you say it? Matokkai.
Sure, you know what? Yeah, that's exactly how you pronounce it, Kibi.
You
That's how
know,
you pronounce it.
our planet is mostly human, Kesh, and what are the tentacle-headed guys? I got to remember these names eventually.
I just like to imagine the guy saying that in character. You know, the humans, Kesh, those tentacly head guys.
Well, you know, it's kind of a backwoods planet. They're not real politically correct.
They're not real people.
They've got tentacles coming out of their heads. Dindus, thank you. You know.
Because they have the dendrils. Got it.
You know. Your people, the Valna, the Prometheans. We don't get a lot of Prometheans through here. But of course, you would not draw attention like, you know. You know what? I'm just going to stop now. Food is served. The butler is like he sets the plates down the table without any trouble, and all of you that are still standing, he's just like, do you wish to be served standing?
Yes. It's a tradition among my people.
Oh, very well. And he hands you a plate.
It's just like, I ate back on the ship. I'm gonna pass.
Do you want to hold your plate, or should I get you a stool or something to set it on?
I'll hold.
Hold it with your tail. Hold it with your tail. Be a badass.
Yeah, Frenchie just takes the plate.
And you, dear? Or, excuse me, and you, ma'am? He says, looking at Jade.
I don't eat while I work, thanks though.
I understand. Good work ethic.
Didn't you shoot the last guy who called you dear?
Shh.
He would have said ma'am. He is a professional. So as you begin eating, assuming you eat,
Yes. Most of our races eat.
Well,
Sorry, now it's
cats-
bleeding over to thinking the GM.
Kat specifically mentioned that she was not eating, or that she made an excuse as to not eat. Hang on, drop my pencil.
Danro will eat in what is seen as a civilized manner among Kesh.
Squeezing tubes of paste. You know, because they're like space fairs.
Why you gotta keep up all this racist stuff?
I'm trying to specify the difference in your species.
Spacism.
and it's species, not races. So there's that.
There are races of Kesh. And you're exclaiming that the star Kesh go and eat space food because they're from the star? Yeah, get out of here.
One thing you will have noticed, Taylor,
Yes,
Is it poison?
when he introduced himself as Gage,
I'm immune.
you're pretty sure he was introducing himself with his family name, and that is unusual.
Oh, I didn't hear him say. Oh, did he say fell?
No, Fells goes in front of the crew name. He just introduced himself as Mayor Gage.
I mean, to hold a public office, you'd kind of have to show a family name. So I understand that to a degree, but yeah, it is kind of a faux pas.
But as you begin eating, he's like, I hope you acquired the information that you came here for.
That and extra.
I assure you, we thought the old mine was abandoned. Had we known there was some large creature, large dangerous creature there, we certainly would not have sent you.
Mm-hmm.
At least not without proper warning.
That's not what we're mad about. That just sort of happened. We've gotten used to large, dangerous creatures trying to eat us.
Wild
Wednesday.
animals, we excuse the wild animal for being a wild animal.
At this, when you say that, the professor goes, "But was it wild?"
Go on.
No, I'm asking you. Are you certain it was wild, or was it being used as some sort of guard animal?
Upon being wounded, it did not retreat to a trainer, but retreated to the woods. We could assume it was being directed in some form, but we could not directly assume a trainer-pet relationship based on its reactions. Now, that being said, there are animals that, when trained, if they were attacked, would not immediately run behind a trainer. So,
Fascinating.
there's nothing we could say that would directly prove/disprove that.
What was your impression? Do you think it just happened to be in the entrance of a cave that the natives live in, or
By itself, and without, seeing dead natives around it, we'd have to assume no. Because if it was there, and since we are now speaking about the natives, the fact we only traveled a little ways into the cave before seeing them in a defensive formation, but we saw none dead from combat with said animal, you would have to assume there was some
you say a formation like they were using tactics?
of a very basic, shoulder-to-shoulder line.
I see.
Cat is just honestly surprised how little they know about, like, a race on their own planet.
Well,
Can you speak about that?
She's pretty much turned her mask off and jammed it for like 2 hours. After this point, she's gonna say something stupid.
Yeah, I'm kind of going into this talk with the assumption they saw them, went, they're somewhere else, and then just went, we cannot study them too heavily, or we might, trip over something that forces us to leave this planet. We're making a profit here, we don't want to leave. We're just going to pretend they don't exist because they're somewhere else.
Well, the people on this planet have been here for at least a few generations now. So some of it may have been profit driven to begin with, but the perpetuation of it was probably, this is our home, we don't get run off from it.
But
just because these guys live on another continent.
Yeah, it has gotten to the point there are native-born other races on this planet now. Which is the continuation of them silently ignoring because they don't want to get the Popo involved. The space Popo.
You never want to get the space popo involved.
I don't know. I'm all about getting the space popo involved. I'm not a criminal.
While the rest of your crew's not kind of hold up a sec.
The rest of us nervous sweating.
What? What? No, I'm kidding. I already know. Enough to know.
Danry wouldn't be nervous around him. Jim wouldn't be nervous around him. Hull probably wouldn't. He's got some
Hull
stuff in
could
his
probably
back.
get the whatever he did was under duress of trying to escape.
Yeah,
what would be basically
he doesn't
slavery.
really have any dirt in his background. It's just who he may have unwittingly been associated with. He hasn't burned buildings down or stolen or anything.
I mean, who among us has?
There's a real different weight between those two statements to me. He hasn't committed murder or trespassing. Whoa.
Jaywalking.
One of those is way worse than the other.
Well, it was more just neglect than arson. They didn't mean to burn anything down. Anyway. So the professor seems to be very interested in what you saw. He asked about what kind of clothing. He asked about, the spears. Were they just sharpened sticks? Did they have flint heads?
At this point, Danner will look to Adrian. Can I, and I pulls out the PDA.
Just like, he's just, whatever, do what you want.
He'll start, showing the pictures and information they have on the PDA just about the pictures of them, showing the tools, the clothing.
This is fascinating. Could I get a copy of this?
Maybe.
Please, we're not allowed to. We're not allowed to. The continent they're native to, we're not allowed to go there. Every now and then we get permission to send in a drone, basically, to capture a little bit, but I'm stuck, studying the remains of extinct species from this continent.
How lucky for you, they're not on that continent, huh?
That's very unexpected. We did not think the surviving natives had the ability to make it over here.
I'm sorry, surviving?
Yes, there's several extinct species. Much like on Earth, there are several extinct species of hominid.
Danner will take a moment and go, I believe due to events, certain members of our group are going to maintain a hostile ear to many things that are said in a scientific way due to the emotional nature of what has happened.
Of course.
So,
the native...
when you said surviving, there became an immediate assumption that you had done something.
Oh, no. These are... No, these species went extinct at least 10,000 years ago. The planet... Around 10,000 years ago, the planet hit its... what's the term they use? Glacial
warming
maximum?
period, cooling period.
Glacial maximum. You had an ice age. They had a very large, they had a very rough ice age that the continent we're on does not stretch very far south, and it caused the extinction of several species here on this continent. Where the other continent they had more room to move south and survived. So we have studied the native species, or the species native to this continent, in some detail. In truth, one of them seemed to be more advanced than the survivors. Just based on, it's still Stone Age, but just based off the tools used and such things that we found. In fact, we did not think the survivors had. He's looking at the spears. We didn't think the survivors had the capacity for making the flint heads on their spears. Yeah, the extinct variant could do so though.
Well, now you do.
Well, there's
Yes.
from a very strict point of view, there's a possibility of this group having been a hidden surviving group that scavenged or learned from the previous.
That's always possible. It would really probably only take a few individuals. If these can make it over here, then perhaps there were a few survivors from here that made it over there. Not enough to
Propagate, but enough to teach.
right, or not enough that that them breeding in would have left any lasting or noticeable changes to the more numerous species. But yes, that they might have learned, much like the Neanderthals learned to make, never invented bows, but learned to make them from early Homo sapiens.
I'm going to assume the professor is human at this point.
Oh yes, I believe I mentioned Sanderson was.
Okay.
Human.
We said he was slim and spaceborn, so I was like, it's probably spaceborn human.
But and the mayor has been letting him talk. You almost get the impression that the mayor has been just sort of watching y'all while y'all interact with the professor, just kind of getting a read of the room.
Congratulations, he knows the farm boy Kesh really likes science. Which is weird.
I don't know, if you were wanting to farm on a bunch of different alien worlds, you'd need some science.
Yeah. Fair enough.
The mayor finally ejects. Well, we understand that you're upset. Though I want to assure you, we've done nothing to hinder the development of this species. As the professor mentioned, we have banned travel to the other continent. Trying to allow them to develop, as they naturally would. Their population is not that large. That basically that continent's got plenty of room for them to continue to grow and expand.
Right. The fear is more of, as time passes, it's a bit strange to say as a Kesh, the fact we don't exactly have a home world anymore. It's somewhere out there. I'm sure we'll find it.
The mayor's like, oh yes, of course it is. Some of us simply decided to make our own.
And that's where the problem lies. Eventually, you'll outnumber the species whom this is the home planet of.
The professor kind of goes, not necessarily. Until they hit an industrial revolution, large families would be beneficial. Where in an advanced society like our own, smaller families are the norm.
Now, when you say large...
Quality versus quantity.
Now, I would traditionally agree with you if there was absolutely no transport to and from this planet whatsoever. If this was a standalone situation, yes, the population sizes would most likely equate. But any strange thing that could promote growth or tourism could start to shift the balance in a way that's unpredictable. Not to go into large scale, macro population
The mayor kind of nods. Well,
but-
we don't get much in the way of tourism here, and and immigration is fairly low. We are kind of in the middle of nowhere. And we have quite a bit of room to expand if we needed to, just on this continent.
Yeah, there is no immediate issue. There is no immediate issue that will suddenly, what you're doing on this continent will suddenly affect or be detrimental to those on another continent. That is 100% certain. The worry is that if this race is to grow, it adapts, it becomes a race that can communicate, carry on a conversation, flourish in the universe that we have now, they would have to do so under such a handicap because they will only have half their world that they started on.
The professor's like, well,
Or they'd have to barter and trade with races that can take it to the skies.
the mayor's like,
Which
well,
would
it'd be,
never-
or integrate, if they wished our technology, integrate with us. But and the professor interjects, you may be under a misconception about them. While they are certainly an intelligent species, it's why the politicians decided for so long to keep it quiet, of course. Mayor frowns at him when he's saying this, but the professor's...
I mean, the professor has seen our PDA of information on them, and
Yeah.
it's kind of openly obvious
But
that they're a form of intelligence.
they are not... If you think of them in terms of human, they would not be on the Homo sapien or Neanderthal or Denisovan level. They're several steps down. You could not take one of them, even as a child, raise it in our society, and it would fit in. It would not have the mental capacity for it. They are a primitive, from a biological standpoint, a primitive species. So you were talking tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands of years. Before they would approach anything on par with any of the races present here. Any spacefaring race, truthfully. The mayor kind of leans forward. Look, we have hundreds of thousands of people living on this world. Some of them third or fourth generation here. This is the only home they've known. Our predecessors perhaps made a mistake. Perhaps they should not have handled this the way they did. We realize that you're going to share this information when you get off world. He kind of looks at each of you in turn. I feel that's fairly obvious, and there's no reason to beat around the bush about your intentions there. He kind of waits for confirmation.
Richard doesn't say anything. He's just raising a brow, letting the guy talk.
I'm not going to insult your intelligence or not intelligence. I'm not going to insult you by trying to bribe you to silence. Judging by your reactions, that's not going to work. But what I would like to do, though, is cut something of a deal with you. Hear me out. We release the information that we have, including the information you gathered. Because, as the professor has explained to me, some of the information you've shown us, the weapons, the perhaps domesticated or half-domesticated animal, they're a primitive species, but they are clearly more advanced than we thought. All we want is to convince you to let us release this information. Let us spin it just a little bit. To mitigate any disruption to the common people, essentially. Handled poorly, there might be an attempt to evict us. Handled a little better, we would probably simply get a lot of supervision. I'm not sure the right word.
Oversight.
Oversight. To ensure that there's that no harm is done to the natives.
Danru would like to interject.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, to your point of view, if I might suggest a written, not defense, but a written statement stating, as the professor has said, it does not seem like these are beings that are going to suddenly become space-worthy or suddenly become intellectual partners with us. They seem a few rungs down the ladder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Simply state that at their current, state, simply be left alone as any other species. You don't, you never attempt to extinct a species.
Oh, no, of course not.
It would be a simple statement of defense of, at this point in time, they are not, a partner species, but they are to be left alone, allowed to grow and develop naturally on their own continent, and if they reach the point of special partnership, reparations would then come into effect. You would then go, all right, you are now a species. You deserve your home world of its full, you deserve the full value of what your home world was before we began using it. For you personally, that would mean nothing, because that would be tens of thousands of years later.
Yes,
It would simply put down the base information of what environmental features there are, the natural resources you came into, and simply state, if this race reaches the point of equalization, we help them by providing overtime, obviously, to build them up to where they have their own planet once again. And if by natural course they go extinct naturally, then nothing came of it. This is what would have happened naturally on their own continent, and you have done nothing specific, and you have done nothing to cause it.
That sounds agreeable. You really kind of noticed him perk up when you said, to you this would mean
Won't
nothing.
affect you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
that won't
that's
come
gonna
up
be
here in the
something.
next election.
And it would be a more statement of you going off the information you know. You have been, if the professor agrees to, be a partner in that kind of discussion, you would release the information and your statement of, when you arrived, you did not know, but now that you do know, you have, you have set the rules, the limitations, what to do if they arrive and begin a discussion. And an open statement of defending them if you come across them on your own continent.
Yes, the mayor. I could see that being the only hiccup or complication to it. Is what we do when they moved over to this continent.
Because theoretically, there could be some form of underground tunnel between continents that they have somehow traveled. In a long stretch theory, and not just this was a surviving camp.
The person goes, well, judging from the photos you sent us and the video, and he starts pointing out some of the things about the cooking fires and that. It does not look like they have been here all that long. A few years, perhaps. The The cave carving dates back to well before the previous ice age. The extinct variant or subspecies that I had mentioned was likely responsible for it. We know they did some light carving. Though the idea of them having a written language is, assuming that's what it is, seems a little far-fetched. But when Achille contacted me, or not Achille, but whoever Achille was using as his
Go through.
Intermediary.
When he contacted me, and explained that you had this sample of writing and how it matched up, that throws some of our theories about this extinct species, kind of turns some of it on its ear. If they had that kind of writing, well, at least this way, perhaps we can do a little more research. Perhaps we won't have to hide as much. And he kind of looks at the mayor. So you continue to eat. The mayor actually starts kind of writing up something. He seems to be pleased with how dinner has gone. He looks up at you guys still standing. Are you sure you wouldn't like to sit down and eat?
I'm fine. Same.
Very well, very well. So basically he writes up a statement about, our forefathers landed and they did this. The second generation discovered discovered that this species was a little more advanced than we thought. They decided to keep it quiet. Danru, as he's writing that, you realize, given the difference in how Kesh age compared to humans,
He's probably here for the originals.
maybe not the original. He could easily be part of that. When he's talking about second generation, if he's basing that off generations of, humans and not Eldor. Dundus, yeah. Because I think the Dindus have similar lifespans.
Live between an average of 350 to 450 years.
Never mind, they're more like the Kish. Okay. Well, anyway, the majority of the planet is human, so he's talking human generations. Yeah, he could easily be at least that second generation.
Danru will go ahead. Adrian, can you look up some information real quick for me?
I guess.
Can you see how long this mayor has been here?
What form?
Because he's Kesh and writing about generations, but this is a mostly human colony. How long's he been here? He's talking about people keeping it secret. He could have been one of those first motherfuckers that was keeping it secret.
Adrian's gonna start looking.
Because he's keeping a disguise up the entire time, which means he may be crazy old.
Yeah, Adrian noticed that.
You start looking into it. He is not first generation. He immigrated here as a child. Would have been late in kind of the second generation of humans. The colony had been around 100 years or so when his parents moved here with him, in tow as a little fella. So he's been here quite a while. He would not have been in a position to have been part of the original cover-up.
Is Dandrew wearing like some kind of like eyepiece or HUD or whatever?
He would have a comm probably built into his armor somewhere or something. Or one he can pull
Okay.
out.
That information will just like flash up on his screen as Adrian's just like quietly like munching on some bread.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good bread.
He's taking his time with it.
General will ask, Sir, is the professor and the butler confidants for you, would you say?
Oh, yes, I trust them both.
Is there a
Aaron,
particular
he gestures to
reason?
the butler. Aaron's family has worked for me. His father worked for me before him, so yeah, he's like family.
I was curious about your continuation to use the look you currently have.
Mostly human world. It just
It eases conversation.
a little bit being a politician. You know, I make no secrets of what I am, but if they're used to this face, it makes the majority of folk around here a little more comfortable.
Understood. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to ask or say? Because I realize
No.
I've kind of dominated on this conversation.
You've done very well in this conversation,
Yeah.
honestly.
As always, Danru is the adult of the party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's true.
Adrian probably would have been like DDoSing the entire colony's networks by now, so.
You had been talking last time about possibly crashing their economy, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm starving them all.
He has the power.
Corn is suddenly worth nothing.
We
was a
can
time
only
frame-
eat it. Oh no.
Was a time frame mentioned for when that information would be released?
No, y'all had not specified a time frame.
So I mean, what kind of time frame are we talking about?
Upon this information to be released upon the event of my death.
Yeah, no. Let's speed
That's
that
a
up
couple
little
more
bit.
100 years. No.
Adrian just like looks at him as he says that and says,
Well, I think that was a joke.
Yes, that was a joke.
was it?
No.
Okay,
yes.
I was about to say, he was about to get real snarky.
No, but you had made
You were
no
just gonna be
specific
like, "It's
mention of when
already
it would be
out."
released.
Mm-hmm. About to go, he said, it's to be released upon my death. Adrian's like, too bad, it's already out.
Upon your death. Oh, you mean 10 minutes from now, unless that changes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like all the people standing pull a gun.
Big old Mexican standoff happening.
Do you want to bring up the time frame?
Yeah.
The mayor's like, we were planning to release it within the next couple of days. At this point, there's really no need to delay.
For your sake, I hope not.
No. We're perfectly aware that you will still have this information, and that any foot dragging on our part would result in an info dump.
Adrian just smiled. It's one of those smiles that's...
You hit him with a big ol' smile.
Well, it's one of those smiles that goes like straight past like pleasant to wide enough to be I'm about to like kill you in your sleep smiles.
It's a
Those are
smile
the
like his
best
jaw's about to unhinge and he's going to swallow me.
Yeah.
Kill Bill sirens in the background of that smile.
Yeah, pretty much. There's Kill Bill sirens in the background of that smile.
Oh well, it beats the Pennywise smile from the It remake, where he opens it up and it's all the teeth, and then like the lights further back. All right.
I hit next level. I can actually pull off something like that.
Ick.
Well, I mean, if you're not a coward, you can just put LEDs in your mouth.
What? One of my next powers, like at level 5, is called Capacitor.
How
I
bright
can
is it?
literally. It's pretty damn bright.
Well, no, I was thinking, how bright an LED would you have to swallow for it to shine out of your mouth?
Yeah.
All of them. Don't be a weenie.
All of them ever. Yeah.
You just get a string of LED Christmas lights. They come out like floss out of a dog.
Oh,
Oh, why? Why, Jason?
I don't know. The image popped in my head.
Images I didn't need to have today. Didn't need to have today. I'm dumping this info now.
The image just jumped fully formed into my head, and the only way to expunge it was to share it.
I have many questions and none of them are appropriate.
Well, see, when dogs eat floss.
Oh no, I know that because I've had dogs, and I've had to. They've also gone and done the needles too with the floss. So
I only know it from a Family Guy joke. So.
well, aren't you lucky?
Yeah.
See, we kept outside dogs, but we didn't also keep floss.
Alright, so anyway, you wrap
Yeah.
dinner up. The mayor, by the end of dinner, the mayor has come up with a rough draft of the declaration, I guess we'll call it.
Declaration of future protection of a species.
He's like, yeah, his legal team will want to read it, want to go over it quickly, but sometime in the next couple of days they'll release it. And then, then the, space feds, whatever you want to call them, we'll get involved, and he doesn't seem to be looking forward to that, but he's not dreading it like somebody that was really up to something would be dreading it. Because they have, in all this time, really just ignored the other continent, so. But
Adrian just wants to go get back on the ship.
as the evening wraps up,
Literally.
the mayor thanks you for coming. He assures you'll be given clearance to take off. Not that they really had a way to prevent you. I mean, they don't have a massive navy or orbital
Or an international
satellites.
space gun.
Well,
The professor walks you back out to the car. Cody has driven it back around.
Cody, do you just work with these guys?
I work for the professor. I work in his department.
Okay.
That's really the only reason I knew as much about him as I did when you started talking about him. Cody seems relieved when he sees you. It's like maybe he picks up on it, and y'all are all a little less angry now.
no,
In fact,
Adrian
there's not
just
blood on us.
good.
just
hiding.
glares at him for good measure.
He's starting to think
Not that
maybe
he
that's
knows
just due to
his
false
mask.
face. I think that's just the face the mask puts on when she's not doing anything. I don't know.
No, you should see some of the idle ones. They're pretty interesting.
But as you get ready to leave, the professor actually thanks you. He goes, I have been trying to convince them to do this for years. Simply because you couldn't repress this sort of information forever. It was going to come out eventually.
They have till the end of the week.
Oh yes, I don't believe the mayor is Gage is a politician. He will play political games. But generally speaking, he's a man of his word.
Yeah, and he has till the end of the week to play that game until I do what I want to do.
And I think he understands it.
I certainly hope so.
I had considered releasing the information on my own, but, well, I don't have tenure yet, so in another couple of years, I think I could have.
I don't have tenure.
Ah. Danner just perks up. Ah, the world of self-protection.
It's been generations. A few more years till I got tenure was not going to hurt anything.
Oh, yes, yes. I
Well-
completely agree with you.
At least I wouldn't have thought so until I found out they're on this continent. Oh, we need to start looking around and finding out how many more may have moved over here. It could be a whole mass migration.
Yep.
Well, it was very nice meeting you all. You may have introduced a very exciting time to be in my profession. And you load up in the future SUV, and Cody drives you back to the ship.
Mm-hmm.
So did dinner go well?
It went away.
Oh.
The food was nice.
Oh yeah, the mayor is very particular about his food.
I noticed. Tasted like poison.
He actually kind of turns around in his seat, takes his eyes completely off
Hey!
the road. turns
Eyes
around.
on the road! Eyes on the road! Idiot.
The mayor is not going to poison anybody. He goes, I can. Yeah.
Cat's
I
like,
don't know.
"We've
Give him a
either
few
done a
hundred more years of. Nah, I'm kidding.
slow acting
I'm not going to
poison."
claim a Kesh would commit poisoning. That's cowardly.
Anyone will do anything. Motive right enough.
Cat's like, we've either done a good thing for this species or we've completely doomed them.
Oh, this species will be fine. We've just ensured that this species will be fine. It's all the ones in between. But we couldn't live long enough to attempt to protect those. We can't go for the long-term victory as 6 people. It's just not a thing we can achieve. We can achieve the short term.
Cody's nodding his head. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like, if we start having more interaction with them, it may actually speed up their evolution.
If they were at a point of social and intellectual interaction, yes. Your professor had assured me they were not quite there.
Well, this is true. But if they keep coming to this continent, they're going to have interactions with us. The more
Yes.
social they are, the better those interactions are likely to go. It's creating evolutionary pressure to become more social.
Or more evolutionary pressure the way humans put evolutionary pressure on dogs. Where they became more and more submissive because they got treats.
Dogs also became somewhat smarter. And they can read human emotional cues. Much like humans
Okay.
do.
You need to stop talking about a sentient species the same way my good friend here talks about a cute little puppy.
They're already way more advanced than that. I'm just saying, being more social, being more intelligent, it's going to be useful in interacting with us. So it will encourage those traits. So over the long period, they may become more intelligent quicker than they would otherwise. That's all I'm saying.
At the cost of their own culture.
I can actually write this about. I can actually use this to write. I can actually use this in my thesis now, since it's not going to be a secret anymore.
You could, but that's also the borderline of Stockholm syndrome. I believe is the human word for it.
Not quite.
Not human.
You're close though.
But it's where you've put them in a situation where they have to become your friends to get anything.
Well, they go and do for themselves. I mean, that's always an option. If the population over here ends up isolated, it'll be interesting to see how they develop compared to the others. I mean, I won't be alive long enough to see how it works out.
Cody, it'd be interesting. A nice quiet drive.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be healthy for everybody involved.
Cody, I believe emotions are still running high. Let's just focus on the drive.
At least with the ladies.
I just imagine you
about to say-
Cade, like cocking a gun in the background.
Cody, how about you don't gender this conversation? How about we just have a
Making it
nice
worse,
quiet
bro.
drive?
Yes, sir. Quiet drive.
Hey Jay, do you mind if I borrow your shotgun for a second?
Sure.
All right, thank you. He's openly inspecting it and looking at the very, very big slugs that are in there and
But Cody, get you back to your ship.
he may accidentally point it at the back of Cody's head once.
Just sharpening a knife in the back seat.
Danner is confused by all of you. He's like a 20-year-old dumbass, and you're like, we're gonna blame you for everything. He's a 20-year-old dumbass. Calm down.
Is he really
We're
that
also
dumb,
20-year-old dumbasses.
What?
Some of
What? Danner barks up. Wait a minute. How old is everyone in this vehicle?
She didn't say that out loud.
Anyway, Cody drops you back off the ship. Seems to be glad to get rid of you. Bye, guys. Have a nice flight.
Have
Here's
a
your
safe
shotgun
drive
back,
home,
Jade.
Cody. Have a safe drive home.
Thank you, sir.
It works great.
It was
Very
nice
well
speaking
maintained.
with you.
I know it does.
I'm going back to bed.
So
I never got my nap. I'm cranky.
you get there. The ship's locked up tight. I mean,
Of its own decision.
Yeah. Jim's got all the doors shut. Where the last time you came up, he had the back hold, door open.
Now he's found out, the breeze can wait. Safety first.
Basically. But you walk up, you put in your code or whatever, use your key card, however it is, you access one of the smaller side entrances.
Adrian just Jedi mind tricks the door and opens it.
As soon as you step in, you hear Jim's voice on the intercom. Hey guys, how'd it go?
I ate some poison. It was great.
He didn't
What?
eat poison. The food was fine.
Also, the shotgun was fantastic.
He did threaten
They
a
usually are.
20-year-old college student with a shotgun.
Oh, I didn't. I was checking it. It was very well maintained. The slugs were nice.
He very threateningly inspected a shotgun in front of a 20-year-old college student.
Well, you gotta maintain those things.
So the mayor, has agreed to a article of defense for the natives while explaining their situation to the public and giving out the information to allow the whatever intergalactic authorities to make decisions.
Jim's like, well, that's a good thing, isn't it?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah, and he has he has a week to get it done.
Well, good.
Yeah,
I was afraid it was
draft
going to turn into gunfire or something.
I was tempted.
Jim, I've become more and more concerned about the crew I'm running with as these days pass.
I don't know. I just find it all kind of exciting.
Oh, it's certainly exciting. These people are more happy to get in fights than when I was a soldier.
I don't like getting into fights usually. I like to manipulate data and redirect, and, in other words, sabotage. More often than not, there's only if there's. You know what? I'm not getting into this. I'm going to bed.
Have a good sleep, Adrian. Thank you for your assistance with these people's aid.
Yeah, there's a few things in this galaxy that will rile me up something fierce. You really don't want to see when that kicks into high gear. I can bring planets down. And he goes to bed.
Yeah.
Provided they don't
As
have.
far as I know, you
whispers.
can't hack dirt, so I'm good.
All right. So you take off. Well, Jim asked you want to leave now, or wait till morning, or how y'all want to do this?
Let's leave.
Hell out of here.
All right, out of here
I
it
don't-
is.
I don't think anyone here currently cares much for this planet.
I'm currently well primed to completely destroy their economic social structure. Let's leave before I'm tempted to do so.
We did that once and we had to leave the planet.
You can always do it after your nap.
Please stop encouraging the destruction. It really doesn't make us look any better to save one people by destroying another.
All right.
I feel better at the end of the day.
Fair enough.
So Jim fires up the Roustabout's engines, and y'all take off. As soon as he checks, he's given clearance.
So
If he
much
didn't,
clearance. The
let's say-
most clearance.
I'll say if he didn't, Adrian would make some clearance real quick.
Well, like the mayor pointed out, there was, the spaceport is a dirt field essentially in
Yeah.
this town. So it's not like they had a lot of defenses to stop you from leaving. I mean, they could have mailed you a ticket or something. Would have been basically it. So you take off. No issues leaving system. As you're passing the planet's moon, or the orbit of the planet's moon, Jib's like, "Are we heading back home now, or have y'all got somewhere else you want to
Um, have we gotten anything from our information yet?
go?" No, you gathered all the information from the cave carvings,
Wasn't it
and then
coordinates?
you got slightly distracted.
Weren't the carvings like coordinates or something, or is that how we got to this cave?
Some
They
of
were
them
par-
appear to
well-
be coordinates.
Yeah, we knew they looked. Some of them looked partially like coordinates, but we didn't have the full picture, which is why we went in the first
Right.
place, was to get the full picture.
Yeah, and Adrian is in bed with a data pad with that full picture correlating data.
All right, well, you got several days. If you decided to head straight back to Achille, you would still have several days of travel. So give me what skill would it be to be working on this stuff? Something sciencey.
I have all of them. I'm not even kidding.
I'm proficient in science.
Basically.
Give me. Give me an investigation,
Huh?
and then give me an would it be astrophysics for navigation?
I believe that's how the game runs. Is navigation based off of astrophysics?
So yeah, give me an investigation and then an astrophysics.
Straight rolls or any kind of bonuses or something with his knowledge of the language.
No, just straight rolls.
Straight rolls, okay. Normal, okay. Make sure I have that checked. Investigation and astrophysics. The one thing I don't know how to do on Roll20 is make custom skills.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know if you can without just redesigning an entire sheet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've looked into how to do sheets, but it requires like HTML, which I played with a little bit like back when Navigator was a browser and had a built-in
Yeah.
editor, and that was the last time I ever touched it.
So 18 investigation, 15 astrophysics.
All right, with the investigation, as you're poking over the language, there are individual words that you can pick out. It's enough that you think this was some sort of technical something.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the words, a lot of the carvings aren't actually words. There's a few of them you can kind of guess what maybe it was supposed to be. You're left with the impression that whoever carved these was copying something they had seen. And it's a very imprecise, imperfect copy. As far as the actual part that looks like coordinates, that's a little easier. Some of the symbols aren't quite right, but it's pretty easy to guess. While the ancient language is very complex, there's as the linguist y'all spoke to pointed out to you, there are parts of it where the context of a word can completely change what a word means, etc., etc. Numbers are much simpler. So you're fairly certain you piece together the coordinates presented properly. A few of the markings are a little off, but you're pretty sure what they were trying to carve.
If Daniel's up in the cockpit with Jim, suddenly a computer screen will flash up with a set of coordinates on it.
He flips the intercom on to your room. Is this where y'all are wanting to go?
Some of the symbols are a little bit off, but this is about the closest I can get it.
Okay.
Where does it put us? Like, is it plan?
Yeah, is it a place that the universe knows of?
It's a space.
Let me run it through the computer and see if it tells me anything. A little bit later, Jim's like, "Oh yeah. I think I've actually heard of this place. Crap, what was I going to call it? Because the fold didn't sound right. He goes, yeah, this is the shortcut. He goes, it's a little like space. It's the location of this like space anomaly kind of thing.
Anomaly?
What kind of anomaly?
Well,
A space kind.
It's kind of a shortcut. The best way I've heard it described is basically there's not as much space-time there as other places.
How does that work?
Can you please say this in stupid?
I thought it was.
You travel, and the amount of time you travel isn't the same to you as the same as outside.
Kind of. Imagine you had 3 ships. They're traveling in straight lines. They are light years apart. Say you've got 3 ships, 5 light years. Each one's 5 light years from the next one. They are traveling in a straight line. The middle ship is going through the area that they call the shortcut. It's going to travel. They travel the same distance. It's going to be quite a bit ahead. The theory is that space is folded up weird there some sort of way.
Oh, lovely wormholes.
Not exactly. Things just appear to speed up when they hit it. I mean, that's not what is actually happening. There's less distance to travel. Like I said, the prevailing theory is that it's some sort of wrinkle or fold in the local space-time. I mean, it's the
And the coordinates are in this foldy space-time wibbly-wobbly thing.
right. The coordinates. Well, the area affected by this is let's see. It's not even a light year across. It's trillions of miles.
Is there a planet in this?
No, it's all empty space.
Presumably empty, anyway. Sure, there's some dust or something.
Let's see. It's around 350 billion kilometer area.
Sounds like something we should take a look at.
Well, people have been taking a look at this thing for quite some time. The Eldori have been studying it since I don't know, way before humans ever thought about putting something in space. You know, the only thing I know of in the area, there's a research station. I mean, I'm good to pop over there if y'all want to go there and, you know, talk to the guys or try to figure something out.
Well, I mean, someone's going to have to go into the anomaly. I'm not opposed to it.
We can just come out the other side. Flying through it, you don't notice anything until if you were in those three ships, you would suddenly realize, hey, wait a second, we're way ahead of the other two guys. How did that happen? But yeah, I can set these coordinates you're going to.
You said there's a research station there?
Yes.
What type of research? Just researching the anomaly?
Yes. It was an Eldori station originally, I think. And it's a, I forget who owns it now.
As long as I know crazy space cult.
No, nothing like that. It's not a real big deal anymore. I have only heard of it running around with Achille. He had thought about doing a show on it, but there really isn't that much, information to go on. He decided there wasn't really a way to jazz it up enough
to lengthen a full episode.
Mm-hmm. But it's kind of out on its own. There's not a whole lot around it. It was discovered completely by accident.
If nothing else, maybe we could give him a call.
Yeah, now we could do that. There'd be a slight delay. When we get to a crucible, we can communicate instantaneously with any other crucible, and they could relay a message out to them. So it'd be a slight delay.
Would we want to just head for the nearest crucible or head for Achille?
Would we have to double back to get to this place, or is like Achille halfway between or on the way?
No. Jim tells you heading back to Casparella would be out of the way. And, with our cover of doing side jobs, we do a side job, we run back to Achille, then we immediately run back and do something else. I don't know if that'd make the cultists suspicious or I don't know. Jim's like, I'm just the pilot. Y'all tell me where y'all want to go.
I say we go to the coordinates.
Same. Yeah.
I say we call in advance, but all right, I'm perfectly fine with coordinates.
Yeah.
He goes, it's a big enough station, you ain't got to call in advance, but there is some trading. There is some trading done on the station and whatnot.
Then we can go get gas, and then we can maybe pass a visit to the research station and see if they know anything about this specific location within it.
Okay.
See if there's any jobs to pick up on the station for cover. Or like in the
I'm
general
going back to sleep
area.
now.
Denver will once more interject. I don't particularly see the point of our cover, as we're going around with the personal pilot of Achille in a ship owned by Achille. They're gonna kind of know if they have any information source that we're associated with Achille.
True.
Which is like true, but if they've been keeping up with our communication like we're concerned with, they will likely know what your arrangement with Achille is. You're basically, his own call mercenaries or what have you.
Yeah.
Contractors.
Contractors of violence.
Oh, hey, Bubba's joined us.
It's pretty well known that we are personal contractors with Achille. However, it is also known that for the most part we just sort of run around doing our own thing.
For the most part, when we're not either finding ancient civilizations or brand new ancient civilizations or just mucking up shit.
Or just the general boldly going.
Get in, losers, we're going boldly.
Though you've yet to go anywhere that no one has gone before.
No, just give it a month.
Pshaw. Weeks at best. Or at worst. However you want to look at it.
I mean, it really sounds like probably within the next 2 weeks we're going to go somewhere someone hasn't already gone before.
Alright. So you have several days of travel. You stop once to refuel the ship. Yeah, you're not actually empty, but Jim, you start hitting half a tank. Jim wants to top off.
Mm-hmm.
Since with what y'all are involved in, there's never any telling when the unexpected may crop up.
Well, obviously when we don't expect it.
Thus, you always expect it, and nothing happens.
I'm okay with that option.
But,
We should really get those corpses off our ship.
oh, yeah. I really is meant to be showing the map of the ship. Just so we're not showing just the logo, since, tonight is not a combat-heavy sort of thing.
Where I accidentally am the best at is all the non-combat stuff. Because I rolled 2s in combat.
Someone has to be the mature adult.
Somebody's got to be the den mother. So anyway.
Which I'm sure will never backfire on us.
Oh, no, of course not. So anyway, it's several days later. Like I said, you stop and get fuel once. You probably stop at least one other crucible just to get off the ship and stretch your legs a bit. But no weirdness. You don't think people are. You don't think you spot anybody spying on you. There's no. You pass by plenty of other ships because you're jumping crucibles. Crucibles tend to be busy, but nobody doing anything suspicious, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
A rarity in our circle.
Yeah.
Yes, it is actually a fairly relaxing trip.
Adrian's still keeping an eye on the sensors, though.
Oh, come on. Let your guard down just a little bit. I won't take
No.
advantage, I promise.
No.
I'd like to roll insight on the DM.
He's lying. Alright. A day or so after you left the last crucible, you arrive at Tanka Station. As you come up on it, it looks old. The design doesn't really match anything you're familiar with. I mean, it's not completely bizarrely alien or anything, but it doesn't match any contemporary station designs you're familiar that you have seen. Or you would not necessarily guess what species had created it, but it seems to be in decent repair, if maybe a little patched up looking. It's not super busy, but there are several other ships there. Some of them are trading vessels. There's one kind of military ship. Let's see.
He's eyeballing that military ship.
It is a Saurian Defense Force.
Okay.
They do not keep a permanent presence on the station, but they do have patrols that come by and check the station out.
Ah.
The station,
Okay.
like I said, it's got there's some trading that goes on at the station because it is a city-sized station, so lots of academics, but not really it's not really a prime target for piracy or anything. But
Right.
Yet.
Yeah. We're here now.
hang on, guys, we're going to the station. Let's paint the big target on it.
Well, we just made a big target on whatever we happen to be at the time.
It's really just a big target that floats above your head. So wherever you are, there it is.
Yep.
Sounds
But Jim
fun.
gets permission to dock. Hey guys, they're asking what our business here is.
Academic?
A personal investigation of the shortcut.
Both of those kind of work.
Like we have free time off mission. We want to take a crack at trying to understand how that thing works in a more practical formation.
Wow, y'all look
Like
like a
the
bunch of
song.
heavily armed mercenaries. And you've got a little downtime, and you decided to personally come investigate this ages-old mystery. Okay.
Yeah, it's an ages-old mystery. Cracking it means we get rich,
What about
or
the science?
at least celebrity status of you've cracked.
What is wrong?
We might get on TV.
We'll make a special about us, which like 4 of us will refuse to be on.
Yeah, we'll get a special made about us in the obituary section.
Yeah, but you don't tell the station operator guy that.
No.
Or you say it all to each other, and then he tells you might want to mute yourself next time.
I assume we passed it on to Jim to be the one that
Yeah.
does all the sweet talking for us as far as getting us onto the station.
Pretty much.
All right. So you get docked. You come off the ship. There's a little greeter there. Welcome to Tanka Station. You know, leading research station, researching the shortcut. She gives you just a little spiel, hands out some flyers on, accommodations if you want to stay somewhere other than your ship, food, local eateries. It takes you a second before you realize that she isn't some official that works for the station. That she's clearly being paid by local businesses to, greet people and, here's some stuff you might want to check out.
Cat's like, ooh, flyers.
I ask for the local florist.
She rattles off where two are.
I'll make sure to visit both.
Adrian will ask where he could find any readily available information about the shortcut that the station might have.
Oh, you can access the library files from any terminal. Probably even
I'll go find one.
Probably even from your personal data pad. Once you hook into the station system.
Hook in.
Nothing about,
Right.
as far as you know, nothing about the shortcut is secret.
He's still gonna dig through as much, if not all the data that he can once they find a place to relax.
Okay.
And while that happens, I'm going to be right back.
Okay. So yeah, y'all gonna hit an eatery or something to give Adrian time to do some system hopping. The station seems to be pretty multicultural. There seems to be a fair mix of everybody here. You don't really spot any species that seems to be in a majority, particularly.
They've got a buffet.
Ah, sweet.
Yes, y'all would have no problem finding a buffet place.
Just imagine it has all the different races, cuisines on it, just in a horrible, horrible smorgasbord.
It's an
I don't know why
everybody
you call it
fusion
horrible.
restaurant. Well, what's food for some people is not food for other people.
That food is still moving.
That's how you know it's good and fresh.
The snakeman finds it delicious.
But generally speaking, most species have similar dietary requirements. It's like there's just certain requirements when you have a big brain.
Gotta have them sugars.
Barring the occasional, silicon-based life form or methane breather, a few of your kind of outliers. Bubba says, have you ever eaten Klingon food? Which I think they covered in one of the movies. I forget though.
They did.
So what is your plan of attack, so to speak?
I'd assume Adrian's digging up literally everything secret and not secret about the fold.
Well, one thing he will find going through their systems is there's a fair amount of systems on the station. The main system's easy to get to. But there's a lot of secure systems that have been secured by espers. Which is not unusual on bigger stations or major worlds. There's no shortage of espers around. Everybody knows Cybermancer's going to hack stuff, so if you can afford it, you get protection. Y'all have mostly been dealing with out-of-the-way little spots. One reason he's been able to run so rampant. This station is a little more prepped for that sort of thing. Though the systems pertaining to, the study of the shortcut, most of those systems are easy to get into. Like I said, you don't get the impression anybody's really trying to be secretive about it. And given how long the station's been here, there is not that much information. They have the exact, diameter of the thing. It seems to be perfectly spherical. How much distortion there is varies depending on if you're just skirting the edge of it or going straight through the middle. They have that sort of information.
Do they have any idea if this is a naturally occurring phenomenon or something that was manufactured?
That is very hotly debated. Because there's no evidence one way or the other.
Is there anything in the center? Or is it just...
There does not appear to be anything in it at all. You have this, 350 billion mile or kilometer sphere of empty space. I mean, the occasional meteorite or whatever may pass through it. But there's no star, there's no masses of any real size. They have gone and laced probes out all throughout the thing. Keeping up with, making sure time isn't warped particularly.
That puke is gonna be on you.
They put someone in a tube and then tossed them in there for a week, pulled them back out, and he was like, yeah, it's been a week.
The other guy, it's been 83 years!
Let's see. The current head of the station is a dentist named Vadilla. Oh yeah, I guess she needs a last name too, don't she? Gandrick.
That's going to be a name that needs to get wrote down, because I'm not going to remember that.
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Thanks. Quesadilla dander. Got it.
Vidalia onion.
And what publicly available information you've got on her? She has been living in this station for centuries.
Fun. Enough centuries where it's like concerning, or just like she's an old biddy.
Let's see, exactly how long did this species last?
I think 350 to 450.
Okay. She's not, well, centuries, technically. She's been here like 250.
Alright.
So she is definitely on at least just on the other side of middle-aged.
Yeah.
Bordering
It is not unusual for her race to live that long. It's just like, you just been here.
Yeah.
She got tenure.
Basically, she came here as an academic.
Or she's just an obsessive.
She still heads up a lot of research. And from what you can tell, she has been running the station for the past 70 years or so. Claims to have gotten tired of the station heads getting in the way of research.
Well, it sounds like at
The
least
video
one
clips you
person.
see her saying that, there's a smile. She's smiling when she says it, so you don't know that's how serious that comment was.
At least one person to add to our list of people to see, which I think so far is just one.
She's the first on the list, but that's still you adding her to the list. What sort of other people would you be looking for? I mean, there are plenty of other academics.
Do we want to look into every theory, or is there anyone on the station that might be observing it from an anthropological view? I mean, if it bends time or space-time or whatever, could at some point it have been more severe of a fold? Or larger, even?
Not impossible. Like I said, going through the publicly available information, there are lots of theories. Lots of papers have been written. But it doesn't get talked about a whole lot, from the general public, because it's been around so long. There's so little new information that comes out about it.
It doesn't specifically do anything.
Right. It's just, and it's not a tourist attraction because there's nothing really to see.
Like the Bermuda Triangle, it just exists.
Kind of. And, there's rumors and stories of ships vanishing and all that, but there's, no evidence of that ever actually happening, so. It's like every new spacefaring species that runs across it gets all excited about it for a while.
And then when they can't do anything with it, they give it up.
By the same token, you have a core of, in the academic world, the interest is maintained because it is such a mystery. Thus having one station full of academics, isn't that odd because you're drawing from everywhere else that hears about it. The station itself has lost track of who originally built it and how old it is. It had changed hands through a couple different governments. A couple of private companies have owned it for a time. It is basically self-governed at the moment. Like its own little city-state, basically. Gets a lot of its funding from various universities that keep staff on hand.
Yeah.
So is there anybody particular y'all want to speak to?
Adrian he isn't really wanting to speak to anybody. He's getting a hold of all the information that he can that's readily available, like literally making a copy of it for his own use.
Okay.
And then first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna start cross-referencing rumors and stuff to all the things of where people have disappeared, to the people that have supposedly disappeared that have attacked the party. And he's also gonna be looking in regards to where those coordinates are within the shortcut and trying to figure out if there's anything in particular there.
The coordinates, nothing shows about the coordinates.
It's just empty space at that spot.
Yeah, you basically got a 350, billion kilometer sphere of empty space out here. That in and of itself is not unusual. It's just that I say that sphere of empty space, but that sphere is the area that's affected by this anomaly. Space is not warped as badly around the edges as if you go straight through.
Okay.
Did anything happen at those coordinates that we found in particular?
Nothing you find any
Like-
recording of.
Hmm.
You have no problem copying a lot of the information. As I filled them in while you were gone, station's very old. It's been here forever. You get the name of the Dindus woman that's currently in charge. She is also an academic. She has been on the station for like 200 years or so.
Okay.
And been in charge of the station for the last 70.
Okay.
She's a long-lived species, so she's just starting to get upper middle aged to old.
Mm-hmm.
You do find several systems on the station that are protected by Esper powers. That is not unusual on larger stations or your bigger worlds, because there's a lot of Espers around. Everybody that knows about them knows cybermancers can hack stuff. So
Yeah.
Was there anyone on the station or anything being researched from an archaeological point of view? Because, I mean, we found the coordinates for it on another planet.
you find no reference to anybody else showing up to talk about, cave paintings, basically. Now, you have some folks kind of like that come by with, trying to prove their pet theories about it being artificially created by some advanced species or this, that, or the other.
Hmm.
But there's not really any group that's got like a permanent place on the station that's looking at it from that angle.
And
Because there's simply no evidence to back it up, to prove or disprove.
And all the stuff we've gathered, is there any reference to, like, an anomaly or an event like this?
You mean like
the
elsewhere?
stuff that we got, well, like the stuff that we gathered off the planet, the initial planet. Does their research, were they? I can words, I promise. Were the race that genetically modified the other race, did their
I've got to let y'all discover
research
their names
or
soon so we can
records-
call them something.
Yeah. Did their research discuss anything about spatial anomalies or anything like that?
No.
Well,
As
damn.
far as Adrian looking for correlation between the numerous people that you have killed and then found out had disappeared previously, none of them correlate with being around here at all.
Hmm. Okay.
And when you research rumors of disappeared ships, yeah, it's just ghost story stuff.
Right.
There's no actual record of anybody disappearing in or around the shortcut.
Hmm.
Do we want to go talk to this lady?
It's probably our
She's
only
been
lead
given
right
too
now.
much description for us not to want to.
She seems like a vital plot point.
Yeah, something like that.
Definitely not something I made up off the top of my head just now.
Totally not. I mean, we might as well. Then,
Well, I mean, like, we could also just see whoever the head researcher is that's not her.
yeah.
Since she is kind of, like the
Since
mayor
she's
of this
running
place.
the place. Yeah, she's probably busy,
Yeah.
presumably. So we can get together with, we can call and see if we can get a meeting with like any group of researchers. Tell them we're planning a flight through to a specific location, and see if there's any data that's already accessible or any research they've done close to that specific location within.
Okay. You call around, and there are a few groups like that will do tours. Like I said, this is not a huge tourist destination, but you do have people come through, like your like your cover, like the cover you're giving. You know, they come through just kind of to look around and talk about it. So you find a group that'll do that for, a small fee.
I mean, we've got our own ship that we could take to that location if Jim doesn't think it's a bad idea.
As far as, Jim's like, as far as I know, the shortcut's always been harmless.
Was there any research on the specific coordinates?
Not that he found. So anyway, you show up at one of the research facilities, a little grandiose, but this kind of this area these researchers are working in. They're tied to a university from one of the core worlds. You are greeted by Professor Pomo Safi. Put that down so I remember he's the professor. He is one of the Eldori, which is, the blue skin folk.
Mm-hmm.
He is. Alright. Sorry, I'm looking. With all these different races having different age lifespans, I should say. I'm trying to see how old these guys get.
We'll find in our hearts to forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Lord, does everybody live 300 or 400 years except humans?
Except for humans and Prometheans.
From reading through, most of the races are about 300-400 years old, but humans and Prometheans are really short-lived, and it makes a lot of the races wary of them because they move so damn fast. Like, they've advanced faster than any other race because of their short-lived
I don't think the
nature.
Ashenborn live, or Ashenforged live all that long either.
I
The
think the
Ashenforge
Mordecai live slightly longer than humans.
and the Ashenforge are also created from
Yeah.
science.
But,
Mhm.
and it may just be, your more advanced races have fixed themselves to live longer.
Yeah,
Where humans are still relatively the new kids on the block.
yeah.
Anyway, you're speaking to Professor Pomo. Greetings. Are you the group that called ahead?
That's right.
Welcome. Welcome to the station. Always glad to meet people that are curious about the shortcut. Horrible name since doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, this isn't a trade route, or there's no real reason to drive through or to pilot through it. But it is the largest anomaly of its type known. Well, really, the only type known, but only of its type known. But come, he proceeds to take you on a little tour. It's a well-rehearsed presentation. It kind of covers the early days. They're not entirely certain exactly when it was discovered. Like I said, they lost the records of when exactly the station was built. But basically how, it was stumbled across by accident, and the ebbs and flows of the research, and, like I said before, every new species that discovers it, gets really, really interested in it for a little while. And then they don't make any more headway than anybody else did. interest ebbs a little bit. He goes into the different theories on, it being artificial versus it being, naturally occurring in some way. He goes into some of the really out there theories like inside out black holes, like a super dense black hole, so much so that it's folded space in around itself. He thinks that was ridiculous, but it had some popularity for a while. It's a 10 or 15 minute little presentation, at which point he asks you if there's any specific questions or, things you'd like to ask. He'll be happy to answer any questions you have, that he can.
Dan will go and ask, as far as storage, does, let's say, just food spoil at the same rate in it as out of it?
Yes, there doesn't seem to be any real time dilation effects.
It's just in some way a distance is shortened.
Correct.
But time-wise, you can't tell.
Correct. You'd just be traveling along, and suddenly you'd be getting much and much and much further ahead of anyone traveling outside of it, even if you're traveling at the same speeds. It's truly fascinating.
I had a thought.
Are you able to view it in the visible spectrum as it's occurring?
Things moving.
Or does it just appear from the outside that it's just going faster?
With the naked eye, ships moving through there are moving so fast with the naked eye you couldn't really see it anyway. If you move through slowly, it's much less noticeable. So to answer your question, no, you can't really see it with the naked eye. By the same token, well, never mind. So you look like you had a question, Eric?
No, he's just Adrian's just sitting there thinking, it's like, I had a thought. Maybe true, may not, might look like an idiot, but what if this was an artificially created phenomenon that is hiding something, that is taking whatever enters from one point and putting it at the other?
The professor nods.
Sure it hops over something.
The professor nods. That has been one long-held theory. Because at 3.5 billion kilometers, that is roughly the size of a quote-unquote average solar system.
Is there any particular energy signature that is being emitted from there?
Nope. Background radiation seems to be the same. The only odd thing is light traveling through has that same shortening effect on distance or speed up effect, giving the illusion that the light is actually traveling faster than light can, but it's just an illusion caused by the shortening of the distance.
I see.
When there's a lull in the conversation, he asks you, so, what sparks your interest in the shortcut? What brings you out here?
I want to try to solve it.
Yes, we all would like to solve it.
Danner will perk up. While on a job, we received some information in coordinates. Those coordinates were inside that, are inside this, inside
really?
the shortcut.
What sort of job? And are y'all walking around like strapped and ready for a fight?
Adrian
you-
never looks like he's strapped and ready for a fight.
I'm always in my suit.
Well, yeah,
Cats.
you're pretty noticeably a sentinel, so.
She'd just have a sidearm this time.
Yeah, same with Francis.
Cat's weapons would be hidden.
Okay. Sidearms are not
Uh,
unusual on station, so.
Danru will show the space popo report about the bandits we fought, and just be like, you know,
Space Popo.
you know,
The Defense Force.
yeah, the defense force. But you know, fighting as bandits, uncovered some information from them. But you know, it did not say that they put anything here, or if they had anything there. They just had coordinates, so we were.
So
Think
you're going
they got-
to lie to him.
Well, I mean, it's. I mean, yeah, vaguely.
It's not a
'Cause,
lie.
like-
It's a mission of truth.
Like, do we really? No, I mean, at that point, I'm telling a full.
No, I'm
Full
not going to
story.
lie. I'm going to intentionally tell them something that I know is untrue, that I'm making up on the spot. Anyway, the professor's kind of like, oh, that's very interesting, but I mean, anyone could potentially, I guess, fly out there and leave something laying around. It's an awful lot of space. A cargo container or something wouldn't be noticed.
Yeah.
We have plenty
Yeah,
of
a big
probes
thing-
out there, but they only cover so much space.
Yeah. A big thing with us coming to visit you and talk was to make sure we would not interrupt any research by going out to look.
Well, let me check. And he pulls up a data pad. Now, as far as I know, nothing in particular is going on in that area. We do periodically fly ships through it, or fly ships out to try various experiments on the ships.
But it should be perfectly alright by this station for us to go out to that location.
Oh, yes, yes. Nothing in the shortcut is, banned or off limits. I mean, it would be a violation of local ordinance to go out there and mess with someone else's probes or, someone else's property. But no, you'd be free to fly around and do your own investigating however you wish.
Understood.
Good
Thank
to
you,
know.
sir. If somehow at that location there's a super secret research lab, we'll tell you.
Oh, yes, please do.
It's just we're always interested in, treasure hunting and all that.
Oh, is that the kind of jobs you do? Like archaeology, but for profit.
Yeah. That sums us up pretty well, actually, right now.
Yeah. Archaeology and murder. She doesn't say that out loud, but that's what she's
It's
thinking.
implied.
Well, I
Don't
don't
imply
know.
murder. Never imply murder.
Most of the numerous people you've killed started it, so.
And totally deserved it.
Yes.
Numerous people.
I mean, there were the
So we're
random attackers, the drug dealers.
I think we're good to just go. I mean, we're clearly going to get attacked at some point, but
Mm-hmm.
not by the people of this station.
Have you happened to run into anyone that bleeds a rainbow blood when killed?
Do you ask the professor that?
No.
Good, 'cause that would freak the poor man out. Give me perception checks as you leave.
That can only mean good things.
Perception checks always mean good things.
Ouch! Shit.
What the heck?
Man, look at Francis go.
Okay. Adrian.
Adrian and Jade poked their eyes out.
Adrian does not notice anything. Yanni and Jade gorge their own eyes out. It's a 1 and a 2, respectively.
It's a 1 and 1, respectively.
Is it?
It's red,
Oh, yeah,
so I assume he
on the
rolled
die
a
roll,
1.
yeah, on the die roll, yeah. So really just Cat and Francis. You notice one of the little lab guys, he watches you when you come in and seems to kind of keep an eye on you the entire time. I mean, he doesn't follow you out when you leave or anything like that. It's just something you notice.
Just something we notice.
I bump Jade's hand just a little bit and bob my head vaguely in the guy's direction.
What? Yeah, he's kind of cute, I guess.
But he's got a big lizard head, so a slight bob of his head makes the nose whip around very noticeably.
Cat turns and
If you're into that.
has arrows pointing at dude. Like, not to where dude can see the arrows pointing at him, but so Adrian can see the arrows pointing.
The man shudders like someone just walked across his grave.
That's not until next week.
Once that's pointed out, Yanni, still invisible, is going to just float over and stay above that guy's head and just sort of follow him around wherever he goes while we're at the station.
Okay. As you leave, he just goes back to his work. Though at one point he does pull out a data pad and send a text message to somebody.
Uh-huh.
And Yanni's watching that.
A party matching the description you gave has been here inquiring about the shortcut.
Ah!
Does he set the data pad anywhere? Or
Nope,
does
he
he just put
slides
it
it
away?
back into his pocket.
Okay.
How big of a pocket could a Yanni-shaped thing fit in that pocket?
No, it's like a regular pants pocket.
Yanni's just gonna stay on him all day while we're here.
Okay. The rest of the day, he seems to go about his business. He does his research. He seems to be kind of a mid-level researcher. He takes lunch. He chews the fat with his colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
They throw out different theories.
Let's say Yanni also might be messing with him a little bit. Like he turns around when nobody's watching. Yanni will move something just a little bit, like an inch or two.
Like when he's looking at it?
When he's not looking at it.
Oh.
Like he'll turn around and when he goes back to look at something, it's moved by 2 inches or so.
Yeah, when he goes back to reach for it, he just taps it. Instead, he just feels like his balance and his mental positioning of everything has been off today.
Is there anything small and shiny that Yanni could do?
There are shiny tools and stuff.
Yanni has a mission.
Yanni is not to be distracted from being a complete a-hole to this man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, the guy doesn't seem to really notice. I mean, he notices that he reaches for something and then kind of looks up surprised he has to reach over further or this, that, the other, but he doesn't seem overly distressed by it or suspicious about any of it.
Yeah, that's basically the extent Yanni's gonna go.
Okay. So the rest of you, as you leave, where do you go? What do you do?
I'm assuming Adrian would have passed on that information that the text message was sent.
Once they were alone, yes. And after he's secured whatever place they happen to be at. Probably the ship, maybe.
Hey Jim, guess what?
Yeah.
There's
Has there
more
been gunfire?
people.
He's like, has there been gunfire?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
well, it's a good day so far.
But say if they go, or if they're at the ship, we chime in. Is like he's just like, has there been gunfire? He's like, hey, if we do go to the ship, and Jim does ask that.
Were you going to the ship, or were you just calling him to say?
Oh no, Adrian isn't going to be saying anything over
Over comms?
comms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd
Then
assume
yeah.
we at least go back to the ship to coordinate our next move.
Okay.
Yeah.
You go
Yeah.
back. He's got the ship locked down. I mean, not like, super locked down, but he's got the door shut.
Let's keep it that way.
But yeah, he does ask you, has there been gunfire?
There probably will be.
There
Oh,
hasn't
man.
been, but there's been secret text messages of people that were waiting for us to show up here.
I'll say Adrian like literally would just tell the party that as they're in the ship though.
Yeah.
I currently
Can't
have
go anywhere
How
now.
would
I
they have
currently
known
have
we were
Yanni. That's a good question. Yanni is currently messing with him,
Well,
shifting things 1 or 2 inches just to throw his balance off a little bit. It's going to follow
This
him
guy's
home,
eventually gonna go lay down somewhere, or his
And-
apartment, or whatever.
and when he goes to lay down somewhere or relaxes, Yanni's stealing his data pad, and it will be mine.
but it's
Okay.
most likely, talking to Jim, it's most likely that it's just some information network where they've got someone on a bunch of, they've got one person on this station, one person on that station, waiting for this group they've identified to show up.
Well, why
Alright.
would we be that group? No one even knew we were coming here.
It's a fair point.
We've already been hunted by professional mercenaries once,
Yeah, but I mean,
who literally said they were briefed on how to fight. They were briefed on us and were surprised we were better than they were told.
but we
I'm
just
not
got
surprised.
the coordinates from that planet.
I
Unless
feel like that incident was from, us being wanted in multiple places.
Some of the attacks may have been from that, yes. I believe specifically the Promethean sniper y'all ran into.
would it be impossible to call back to that planet we were at just before this and see if anyone else had come down investigating the area where the coordinates were?
You could certainly send that message off.
But it would take time to come
Yeah,
back.
it would take, because you're going to have to relay it through crucibles.
Yeah.
And then, the travel time from this station to a crucible, from a crucible to the planet. And by the way, while y'all were in transit, you were able to verify that the mayor released the information like he said he would.
Which will mean there will be a lot of visitors
Yeah.
Yeah.
coming soon.
But we probably wouldn't have been mentioned unless the
No,
mayor
no.
able really chatty.
Not
No,
unless the
the
mayor was
mayor's-
feeling vindictive.
The mayor's whole thing was, wanting to be the one to put the information out there, so it comes off as though the people had just decided, hey, we need to let this, we need to put this out there.
Do we want to wait to see what Yanni brings back with the data pad and then go out into the great void?
Yeah, let's wait on Yanni.
Sounds like a plan. Was there any good weapons shops on this station, or is it not really a weapons kind of place?
It's not really a weapons kind of place. There's plenty of shops where you can buy a sidearm. Because nobody does any extensive traveling in this universe without either being armed or having armed people with them. Because pirates are a thing and so forth and so on. Like I said, sidearms in a station are not the least bit unusual. So Yanni watches this guy, and like I said, he does his work. He goes out to lunch with his colleagues. He chews the fat. He goes home in the evening, and his room looks like something you'd expect a conspiracy theorist nut to have. There are papers on the walls. He has not
there
white
strings
not
connected?
boards because it's
Future.
but like these big touchscreen monitors that take up most of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I used the conspiracy theory or conspiracy nut comparison, but it's not like he's got the little red strings connecting things he's got pinned on the wall. It is mostly mathematics, astrophysics kind of stuff.
Oh, it's a bunch of math.
Gross.
It's like he
Cat is-
works all day trying to crack this, and then he comes home and works all night trying to crack this.
I mean,
Mention
if
of
it's
math,
level
Cat is
2,
instantly out.
So basically, all of this is about the corridor, shortcut, whatever you want to call it.
the go fast pockets.
Yanni does not see. There's no knickknacks. The place is not decorated.
Mm-hmm.
It's bookcases and it's tables. It's only stuff that has an actual use.
Hmm.
Why do I get a feeling that if I were to put a bullet in the back of this guy's head, he'd start spraying rainbows?
I don't know, man. I think you got a thing for rainbows. I don't know.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
bedroom
really, it
is not quite
Just
as
sounds like
bad.
he's an obsessive.
Yeah, the bedroom is not quite as bad. He's got clothes. He's got a bed and a dresser. There's clothes hung up. It seems kind of orderly and neat. He's got his bathroom facilities. There's the typical shampoos.
Yeah. Hmm. Does he leave his data pad anywhere?
Yeah. When he gets home, he changes out of work clothes into something more comfortable.
Okay. Is there any collection of data pads or something that he might have put them on?
You don't see a lot of data pads laying around. He's got one tablet that seems to stay in the room.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, there's a computer system because he's got the monitors and stuff all on
Right.
the wall that he can, use like a whiteboard or pull information up on.
How big is the tower?
Big enough for Yanni
Probably
to
not
walk.
too big, but it's built into the wall of the room.
Is it less than 40 pounds?
It is, but like I said, it's built into the wall of the room, so you'd have to disconnect stuff inside the wall.
Hmm. As in the case is hard, screwed into the wall.
Yeah, kind of like how the system computer the station's computer system would be, integrated into it. Yeah, the guy has basically done that to his apartment.
Hmm.
So you don't really have a tower standing out anywhere.
Okay.
It connects to everything basically via Wi-Fi.
How hardwired into the wall is this tower?
The wires are not plugged into it so much as they're just connected, directly to essentially the motherboard. It is a part of the room basically.
Right.
If you went in with tools, you could cut it out and then rig something up.
Hello, room cleaning.
Now, okay, my next question is...
Yes, Bubba, like smart boards.
Is how much...
Or smart drive.
Is there empty space inside this tower? Or is it completely full up with wires and...
There's
all that?
space about like you'd have space in an iPad. I mean, everything is pretty closely connected together.
Okay.
It is not a super you know, is not a supercomputer by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very, truthfully, very similar to the computers he was using, you know, at work.
All right. Okay. I'm asking because, like, if there was enough room inside the chassis, if Yanni could maybe get into the chassis, and, like, disconnect things that are connecting it to the
Yanni's
wall,
like a
and then
big
just let it
dragonfly,
yoink out.
right?
No, he's tiny.
That's right, because he can only pick up like 5 pounds or so, right?
40,
I don't remember how
Pardon?
we fixed this. This time.
40 pounds
40 pounds.
at max.
Surely he's bigger than that, then.
No, he's classified like by the rules as a tiny sized construct.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure how tiny how big tiny would be in relation
about like
to
a fairy
stuff
in
his
D&D.
Genesis.
Okay.
But he's considered tiny. But he has a strength of 5, and carry weight is strength times, I think, 8.
Okay.
So
Yeah, if you could disconnect this, but like I said, it's kind of, you know, bolted into place or whatever.
Here we go.
fair enough. Okay.
But you know, he doesn't make any more calls about you. He literally pulls up a copy of the work he was working on at work and starts on it again for a few hours, and eventually goes to bed.
Okay. Yanni's going to pick up the data pad once the guy's asleep.
Okay, not a problem.
He'll go over to the desk. He will sit on the computer, and he will act as a terminal for Adrian.
Okay.
And Adrian himself is going to try to get into the computer.
Alrighty. Let's see here. His system. Are you using an Esper power to do this, or
Yeah.
just hack?
He's going to activate Black Hat just in case, because it gives him advantage on hacking unfamiliar systems and lets him have the ability to get through up to second level Esper powers. Or second level Esper encryption.
Now, Esper encryption, those are individual powers.
Yeah.
Because this guy's system is protected.
Mm-hmm.
System lock, I believe, is the one I need.
Allows you to break through rank 2 warding talents like magnetic seal or program trigger, etc., etc.
Alright, system lock. Alright. Okay, I'm mistaken. System lock was not the one I was looking for. Okay, the one I was looking for, I think, is a second level, so you would get through it.
Okay.
System lock is a temporary something where you seal the thing off.
Yep.
You actually have to suppress that if you wanted to use the device.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you're able to access his data pad.
No, he's accessing the computer.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. You get into the computer. It contains a lot of his research. You know, you're running through all the numbers, and it's all the experiments they've been trying. And then you realize, yeah, it's all the experiments they've tried. There is centuries and centuries worth of experiments stored on this thing.
Yeah, he's having Yanni download this to the datapad.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these experiments.
That's gonna be a little while.
Yeah, this information goes way, way back.
He theoretically has 8 hours to do it. In theory.
Is it USB 3.0? What are we up to?
It's Thunderbolt 300. That's the connection he's using.
Oh my.
But you eventually get it all downloaded.
Mhm.
A lot of the experiments were things already publicly available.
Yeah.
You know, the information on it.
If it takes long enough that I have to take a point of exhaustion for staying up, then I will to maintain the concentration. But and then I could just like sleep through the day or something like that and get my long rest that way.
Let's see. Alright, now this was one of the first. There it is. Some of the earliest experiments that you find listed, which, like I said, are from hundreds of years ago, have some personal notes attached.
Okay.
These are ones you did not find kind of out in the readily available.
Uh-huh.
Quite possibly just based on their age. Some of these probably date back to the very early days of the station.
Okay.
But it's somebody's talking about the latest experiment being a failure, but he's certain with a few more years that he can get inside. It's almost like he's making a report to somebody.
Huh.
And that given, a few, and it's like he's reassuring or trying to calm somebody down. That, a few more years to crack their way in after all the years it took to find it initially, is not that big a deal. And that's really all you get. I mean, it was just a little note attached to the file.
Okay. Alright, so after all that, Yanni is going to take the data pad, and after he gets all the data, of course, and he's going to yoink out with the data pad back to the ship.
Okay.
And by this point, Adrian's like, I'm tired. And is anyone still up with him, or
No, everybody else has probably crashed out.
totally crashed out? Okay.
We're selfish like that.
That's fine. Adrian's
We
gonna
set the coffee timer.
Yeah, Adrian's gonna walk over to Danru's door, dunk, as he just like falls into the door.
Denver will get up, shield in hand. Oh, hey, Adrian. What's wrong?
Have about 700-800 years of research by one guy. Enjoy.
I'm gonna assume you mean... Alright.
Well, he had all that on his computer. You don't know where he got it all from.
Right now, he's too tired to care.
We happen to get who he sent the text to?
That's somewhere on that data pad.
Yeah,
I'll
the
figure it.
or actually
His room looked
actually
like a
no,
giant.
he wouldn't. Because it wasn't the email he had. It was the
Yeah.
report, and this was just a note attached to the report. So yeah, no indication of who he would have sent it to.
Yeah. He's just like, as I got a little distracted because that dude's room looked like a giant conspiracy theory office, and he had a big ass computer bolted into the goddamn wall.
That's
And
not that unusual in a stationary ship.
it took what time is it?
It probably took you 7
Morning.
hours.
Okay, so it took me about 6-7 hours of nonstop concentration through my little drone friend, as Yanni is like probably nicked something from Dander's room and is floating off with it.
Congratulations, you stole dirt.
He's probably like, yay, dirt!
My
And it's
bonsai
like,
tree, no.
it's like
Get a
probably gonna
dirt.
probably gonna like move the tree somewhere where it thinks. Um, and like, yeah, that's. I'm tired. I need
All right.
sleep. I've been up all damn night
Dan will
doing
pick
this.
Adrian up. Let's get you to bed.
I'm flying. Okay. He's just gone.
Adrian just wants Danny Danru to tuck him in. Read him a story.
He like literally like Daniel got probably about 5 feet before Adrian was already just like out like a light.
The rest of the night passes uneventfully. Fairly early in the morning, though, the comms in all your rooms come on. You hear Jim's voice. Guys, you might want to get down here.
What did who do this time?
Station police want to talk to you.
Cat just glares in the direction of wherever Adrian's room is on this ship.
Yay.
He said what now?
What do they need us for?
Yeah, Adrian, you've only had about 2 hours of sleep at this point.
Yeah, someone might have woken him up, probably the intercom.
They just say they want to talk to you about some stolen property. I don't know. I mean, it's not like it's the SWAT team has shown up or anything. It's a couple of officers. It's a couple of officers and this like pissed off looking dude.
Adrian has a copy of this stuff in his head by now. He tells Yanni to pick up the data pad, make them both invisible, and he'll phase through the ship and fly off back to this wherever this dude's house is, just to get the evidence out of the ship.
Hmm.
And then he's gonna
The
go back to
shiny back.
and he's gonna go back to sleep.
Danner will go talk to the. Danner will go on the communicator. Does anyone other than me feel like going and speaking with the police?
Cat comes along.
I'm about to say,
Thank you,
probably at
Kat.
that point, Danru will spot Yanni pick up the thing, pick the data pad, both of them just vanish.
Alright.
Cat's like, I can punch him later for you if you.
Danner will step outside the vehicle.
There's two officers. You know, the officers are just kind of like, hello.
License registration.
Hello.
Kind of. You know, they want to see your ID. Which, you just pull up your data pad or whatever. Or your comm unit.
So what's occurred?
Roll me a wisdom check.
Both of us?
Just Andrew.
Ha. It's a 2.
You're not in combat.
I'm not in combat. My
You
roll
see the two officers? They look normal. The guy behind them looks kind of upset. I mean, he looks a little mad. He's dressed kind of like the researchers you've seen. Yeah, he's just got that kind of academic look to him. Kat was one of the people that spotted the guy that was watching you the previous day, right? You recognize him. He's the guy that was watching you.
Yep. Cat's already behind the mask, like I'm going to just beat the shit out of the nerds.
As you start talking to the officers, something pings on the researcher's data pad. He pulls it up. Officers, it's on the move again. All right,
Is
let us
something
know
the
where
matter,
it winds up going.
officers?
He called in to report his data pad was stolen. He had a tracer in it. It traced it to this this docking bay.
I mean, we've been here since we got in here last night before we were going to go out, this morning to do some research on a spot. None of us have left. I mean, you're welcome to check the cameras and everything, but we've been on here all night.
We have somebody checking, is going to check the surveillance.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, if you want to look around the ship, there's nothing. We don't have anything on the ship that we shouldn't have.
Well,
not lying.
Apparently, he's saying the data pad is on the move. So,
okay. I mean, I hope you find it.
The little researcher guy's like, drones. They're probably carrying it around with drones. One of the officers like, we'll check the cameras. It'd be a stealth drone. Uh-huh.
I know Hull, one of our guys, builds drones, but I don't think any of them can go stealth.
And the police proceed to, ask you general questions, The longer it goes on, the more you think that they're just kind of like, whatever.
Humoring the guy.
Well, I've got, at first, I've got a tracker on my thing. It shows that it's here. Well, okay, we'll go check that out. Okay, as soon as we get there, now it's moving. And he's talking about invisible drones, which is tech they know exists, but all of this is still essentially the dude's cell phone.
Yeah, it's like, they stole my cell phone with the stealth drones.
Was it a high-end cell phone? It was okay. It was a couple years old.
Screen was a little cracked.
The funny thing is Yanni actually technically isn't a drone. That's the funny part.
What is he exactly then?
He's a protean.
What is a protean?
I will have to dig through the book a little bit more, but
I was thinking that was just some sort of kind of specialized drone. But is it a little more of a self-aware?
Whole stuff are drones. One of the things,
because Johnny does have a little more personality, where Hull's drones
just do jobs.
Yeah, they're just weapons or tools.
It says, create a bonded companion, an extension of yourself that is semi-intelligent. And instead of being a drone, it's considered a protean or a netherent.
Okay.
I'll have to. I'm gonna dig.
It's almost like it would be an artificial animal, but like a high intelligence.
Kinda.
Because it's basically like a familiar or animal companion kind of correlation. Okay.
It's basically some sentient creature that takes the form of a drone. But it is not a drone in technicality.
Yeah, but its intelligence is kind of spawned out of your own mind. Mm-hmm. So to the police
it's an extension of himself.
But to the police officers, yeah, it's a drone. You can tell them it's a hinky, super fancy one, but ultimately they're still going to go, okay, it's a drone.
Yeah. But if someone asks him, do you own a drone, he can technically say no.
And they can't get him for false reports or perjury or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the officers, since you invited him on the ship, one of the officers comes on and has a little look around, but
Did they go into Adrian's room at all?
They would probably open the door and glance in, but
they
don't do a thorough search. Two guys. He asked you just a couple of questions. Did you go anywhere last night? Yada yada yada.
I was in here for the most part. This Ripple stuff was real interesting, and it kind of stayed up way longer than I should have researching it.
Yeah, there's a lot to read on that.
I pretty much got a copy of everything that you all have available, and I just started reading and forgot to stop.
He's like, yeah, I got a brother that's like that. Kind of
my
an egghead.
condolences.
I mean, no offense.
I'm the same way, so I can very cheerfully say my condolences.
They check out Hull. They look a little closer in Hull's workroom. But, most of his drones are pretty run-of-the-mill, as far as the style of tech.
So
Nothing that
outside the
screams
ship.
stealth tech.
So outside the ship, the two cops went in, right?
Yes,
So
Did the nerdy kind of come in?
it's just
he did not.
us and the nerd outside.
Mm-hmm.
Danru will look him in the eyes, go. So why'd you send a secret text message about us to somebody?
Why are you spying on me?
Why are you spying on us?
You came to my place of business.
It's a research station.
You're a
There's a lot of
research
people that come
station.
here.
Well, he meant the specific office, his office or whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that the office was private. We just came to... We found some coordinates somewhere. We're nosy bastards.
What coordinates did you find?
We
A
already
text
discussed.
message will pop up on both of their screens. It says,
You didn't
"Don't tell that
discuss
damn
with
thing."
this guy those coordinates. You gave them to the person that was giving you the tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this guy never left his workstation, so he didn't necessarily overhear everything. He was just kind of keeping an eye on you.
Just a bunch of them in the general area. I mean, I'm not the science nerd. I mean, look at me. Do I look like the science nerd?
Perhaps I could speak to your nerd. If he would share these coordinates, perhaps I could forget about this little theft.
what?
This little thing where you yell at us?
Yeah, if there's nothing on the ship that's yours.
It has a tracker. I know it was been on the ship. And I know as soon as we showed up, somebody took it off.
No one's left the ship. All of our drones are still here. There's no flying tablet.
Roll me a bluff.
I'm not the one shooting the mouth
Deception?
off. Have fun with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, deception.
or
Yeah,
persuasion.
I'm sorry. Deception.
Technically, none of our drones left it. She would know enough about Yanni to know it's not a drone.
You can't tell if he's convinced or not. He does not look super convinced, but he doesn't call you a liar either.
Danru's making sure the police aren't coming back out yet.
Do you even care why we're on the
You've got several minutes while they're inside.
Who even asked you to be on the lookout for our group?
Yeah, who knew we'd even be here?
You people
This
have
is a
popped up in
bit
some
out
odd
of the way.
locations. You people have popped up in some odd locations. Your faces have gotten around.
You people. No, I shouldn't.
What do you mean, you people?
Well, I mean, we end up going on a lot of weird jobs. We just pull bad jobs.
So where did you find these coordinates at?
Space cult. If he already knows about us, he knows.
She was gonna say the same story he did about us finding it on the drug runner planet.
That seems unlikely.
Space cult, yeah.
Eventually the cops come on back out. And they tell you, we didn't find anything. We had our little scanner, but nothing pinged from your tracker. He still looks at you with great suspicion. But he tells the officers, well, he thanks the officers for doing what they could. Although he's still convinced that, they were responsible for, taking his property. But
Danner will ask the officers real quick. Now, we had plans later today to travel into the shortcut for a drive. Are we still perfectly okay to be doing that?
He's like, yes,
Or
sir.
do we need to
There's
stay around for.
It's a stolen cell phone, man, or comm unit. Y'all would be in trouble if we had found it. But yeah, there's no charges actually being pressed.
Understood.
Where did Yanni take his data pad?
Well, after hearing this, Adrian is going to tell Yanni to find somebody that looks particularly obnoxious and or bitchy that is carrying a purse to phase into it and leave it in there.
You're a monster.
Yeah, this is the worst thing he's ever done. Sure. Sure enough, he
now
does
we're
that.
experiencing
Somebody
innocence.
that's already out walking around. So if he keeps checking it, it'll just be moving all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the best thing Adrian came up with his tired mind is send this man on the longest wild goose chase he can think of, so he can go back to sleep. Is basically it.
Bastard woke me up. Make him pay.
Yeah, more or less.
All right. So later this day, you're going to head out into the shortcut. Probably after letting Adrian get a little bit more sleep.
Now they get back
Probably.
on the ship. Cat's opening the door and like winging a shoe at him.
That's what?
It's not even a shoe she wears. She has sets just for throwing.
Gotcha.
Aerodynamic ones.
She's like, what? What? You stole from another nerd, and you didn't expect anything to be on it. Did you check it for anything, or did you just bring it on the ship?
Yeah, I checked it. Did he have another one?
It had a tracking device on it, dumbass.
Oh, lovely.
But after 7 hours of downloading information on it, he didn't think to check that once he took it out of the room.
Fucking.
So anyway, we're going to wrap here because it's just after 9.
Wait, what do you mean rookie? You don't need to be experienced in that. Dan was looking at Cat.
It's a turn of phrase.
Sure it is.
I mean, he's done other stuff and not been this stupid. You've been here when he's done other stupid stuff.
You try downloading and sifting through between 700 to 800 years of research, staying awake for just about a day straight with absolutely no sleep, trying to make sure you get it all done and correct, and then bringing it back.
I'm making a checklist next time. Top of checklist. After downloading, check document for any traps or tracking devices.
Which is why I've planted it on somebody else. Can I go back to sleep now?
He just like walks off.
Yes, you may, Adrian.
Thank you.
Dan good night. Dan will close the door.
Wouldn't it be the morning?
Alright, so we wrap here for the evening. Next week, into the shortcut.
Into the space folds.
Before we take off, since I showed the ship map again, take a second to hype zerohour.com, www.the0-hr.com. They do these maps that you get in printed form. They come with miniatures of the ship. So there's the Roustabout. Or the Clydesdale, I think is the model of the ship. And they were real nice about letting me use their maps in the game, so I like to hype them every now and then. I want to thank everybody on Twitch that showed up to watch. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank my players for putting up with me again.
Gladly, as always.
And again, we had Sarah playing Kat, Taylor playing Danru, Eric playing Adrian, Anna playing Jade, and Zach playing Francis. Let's see. Is there anything else we needed to go into? Well, not for this game. Tomorrow night for the Wednesday night showcase, we are starting a few weeks of an Icons game that I'll be running. Tomorrow we are doing character creation. And then it'll be 5 or 6 weeks probably of the story. I have no idea what the story is going to be yet. I've got, well, I'll say no idea, 2 or 3 ideas. I'm going to wait and see what the guys come up with. I'm kind of looking forward to it. We're using the random character creation, so that tends to be fun when you get oddball combinations, and then with everybody there, everybody can throw ideals back and forth to come up with something coherent. Some of the guys in this game have played that kind of thing with me before. And then Thursday, Maddie has her Curse of Strahd, where I think they're finally in Barovia. And then Foundation's wrapped up, so Monday I don't know what they're planning to do. Don't know if
We
it's gonna be
actually
reruns
do
or
not.
specialties.
We're going to be doing reruns of Foundations of Adelar until the 8th of July when we're going to be starting our new campaign.
Okay. Has Heath released any information on the new campaign?
Not yet.
Yeah.
From what I remember, we're going to be having a session 0 that's going to be open only to patrons. So, hey, if you want to see our world-building character creation process for our new game on Mondays, totally become a patron for Darberry Venturing Company, and you will be able to see session 0.
All right. So, like I said, tune in tomorrow for the Icons game, and if superheroes aren't your thing, but sci-fi is, meet us back here in a week, and we'll carry on with our Espergenesis campaign. See y'all later.
Yep. See you.